What an honor. I get to serve my country. Gotta put in like 2 years of my very short life. Hi, welcome back to Sashimi Tangent. I am Zhan, as usual, and this is Vincent.
Yep, hello.
He will be a regular host, I guess.
Yes, co-hosting, yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Shall we talk a little bit about what happened in the first episode?
Right. So
supposedly first episode.
Sorry. Yeah, it was supposedly our first official episode, but I screwed up big time on pressing. I'm pretty sure I pressed the wrong button on Adobe Audition. I've explained this already in the beginning of the clip in what we've uploaded. We shadow uploaded the clip, the YouTube clip, the podcast yesterday. So we are not actively promoting that episode, but it's up there if you want to see.
I mean, it's an interesting episode.
Yeah, it's up there if you want to see it. Just that it won't have this fancy audio for the video. So it's not on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, unfortunately, because the audio is
too bad. But luckily the phone recorded some of the audio, so you still get to do a YouTube video.
Yeah, so you can watch it there. But I guess today will be a sort of a continuation of what we discussed on yesterday.
Oh, also, what happened was caught on that episode. So, go and watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I already plastered the reaction to the front of it. I mean, at the end, there's some bonus reactions as well.
Like, you can see, the changes in our face when we realize the audio went rip.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said before, today is going to be a continuation of yesterday's episode. But for those who did not watch episode 0, or since we are not promoting, but we are going to be actively putting this out. I will just give a quick rundown on what we covered yesterday. So what happened on yesterday's episode is basically we covered on how we knew each other,
how we met.
What the podcast is about, what the name was, just to give a brief rundown again. Like we said, welcome to the Sashimi Tangent podcast.
Yes.
And the name actually consists of 2 elements, as you can tell, sashimi and tangent. The sashimi component is us liking the dish, Japanese food being generally nice, better tasting than
good for diet,
food.
like I said.
Good for dieting, yep. And it's raw, so we'll try to keep our conversations as raw, unfiltered, but as
incorrect. We don't try to be politically correct.
Yeah, but it's we try to stick to facts as much as we can. We don't put too much opinions. We will obviously share our own opinions on the facts that is given to us, but we'll not deviate too far away from the fact on its own. And the tangent component of the podcast comes in because when we are conversing about things, we might go off topic slightly, but we realized that on the first ever podcast that we uploaded on Spotify that we went off. Actually, no, it's not the first ever. The first time we've actually recorded one with visuals. We didn't upload it, by the way, but it was so unstructured to the point where we felt that we cannot go so far off tangent. We'll go off tangent for sure, but we'll minimize the how far off road we go.
We try to cover a topic as much and as far as we can, instead of just starting new topics and not finishing it.
Yeah. So that's what happened on yesterday's recording. For viewers out there who is watching, technically it's still yesterday for us. Yeah. But I probably will upload this along with episode 0, because episode 0 is obviously a train wreck, unfortunately. So this week you have technically 2 new content to watch.
I mean, it's a train wreck, but the content is actually interesting.
Yeah, it's still good enough.
Yeah, it was how we met, and basically our journey through secondary school.
Right.
I would say it's our journey in secondary through in its entirety. I don't think we really miss any interesting topics out.
Yeah, not really a lot of topics missed out. So this will not be a recurring thing where we'll based off the previous episode. In theory, you could watch each episode in its own
it's just
selection.
It's just a starting.
Yeah, this is a starting podcast. I mean, the starting phase of our podcast.
Where you get to know us better.
Right. I mean, eventually in future episodes, you get to know us even more. But for these first 2, I would say safely first 2 episodes, we'll be covering. It will have some connection with each other. But today's topic will be, or today's the things that we're about to talk today. It's a bit more different compared to yesterday.
Okay, I wouldn't say completely different. It'll still be about our education.
Right.
But what we talked about in episode 0, the fucked up audio one, was our journey in secondary school. So basically our education. And in today's episode, we're going to talk like what is going on past that. So, like Poly, JC, and now NS. And also even going further ahead of that, like what our plan is for, like, maybe our next 5-year plan, kind of thing.
Yeah. And also apologies to if by any chance you're able to hear some background noise, such as maybe rain or air conditioning. One, we are in a relatively small room. I think we didn't mention this yesterday, but we are in a relatively small room, and the aircon is just technically directly above us.
Yeah, and it's raining.
I think it's raining really heavily right now. Indeed, it is.
As you can see, hopefully you can. It is raining.
Yeah, it's raining very heavily right now. So at least there's some tranquility. You know how we how we fall to sleep with the rain noise. We're like,
we shouldn't have paid the guy for BGM. We could have just prayed for it to rain, do a rain dance or something.
Like every single episode has rain.
We just do like a rain dance before the podcast starts.
And then everyone who's watching is like, oh fuck, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they're driving? Anyway, to get to the topic at hand.
Yes.
So, like what Zhan said, we'll be discussing about
after secondary school.
After secondary, we'll be covering on our poly life. For you, will be A and IB.
Yeah.
Whatever there is. It's
confusing, you will know.
But yeah, so we'll cover our poly life. Our tertiary life at least, pre-university life. So we'll discuss about that going forwards, and then we'll see what we have plans for the future at least, and further on from that point. Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and start off poly?
Why?
I guess yours is easier to talk about. Mine, there's like a long explanation.
I guess fair. Okay. Poly life. So very generic poly.
So Sec 4, Sec 5, then poly. Right.
Right. So what I did was that I was in the normal academic stream, as previously mentioned on the other episode. But I went ahead to do a 5-year program in secondary school. Basically, I went all the way to O-levels and a couple of my other classmates. Then on O-levels, we have this thing where we call an EAE. So it's an early admissions exercise. I had a chance to go into a different polytechnic, a different polytechnic.
See, I don't even know that. Which was that poly?
Temasek Polytechnic.
Oh, yeah. That's far.
So I had a chance to go there. The thing is, distance wasn't an issue.
To be fair, your poly was far as well.
Yeah. So the unfortunate thing was that I was, like I said, I enrolled into EAE. I actually got through EAE.
Yeah.
I got a course. I got the course that I wanted at that point. Which is big data and governance. So in theory, now everyone might look at me and it's like, wow, that's actually a really good course for at least future-proofing yourself, right? Because nowadays we rely a lot on big data, and won't say a lot on governance, but it's always pinging off each other, right?
Yeah.
Then,
and it's something we need right now.
Yeah,
for secret.
Yeah,
project.
for secret project, you'll know.
You know what? Yeah, for sure, man. In the future.
In the very long future.
Yeah.
But right, and at that point, because technically my sister was helping me decide, and I had a level of interest as well, but I thought that I would not like sitting down too long and churning data and doing data analysis. And so I turned down the EAE offer, which you all might look at me and say like, why? I'm like, I agree with you. And in hindsight, I was like, why as well? But so I turned it down because I thought, maybe I don't really like to do this. So fast forward to O-levels, the end of O-levels, I did terribly. For those who are discouraged by O-level results when it's coming out soon, don't be too discouraged. As long as you score 25 points, you can still go into nursing at least. Or common engineering program, which is what I was part of in Nanyang. Hopefully I don't reveal too much that I'm dossing myself.
Actually, I think, honestly, I don't think it's a big deal lah.
Yeah, true. So common engineering program in Nanyang Poly, right? At that point, I was able to I managed to go in with a measly score of 25 O-level points. And so I barely scuffed it through to Poly. Nanyang was the only one willing to accept me. The other one would be nursing in NP. And I do not have a good tendency of caring for people. I mean, I do like communicating, but I can't
your parents would say you can't even care for yourself.
Yeah.
Are you trying to care for other people?
Right. It's the generic Asian parents thing, right? So I made it through to Poly. Did the common engineering program. I think after the first half of the year, I managed to do decently well to get streamed into a specific course. Basically, how the common engineering program works is that it differs for Poly, but a difference for Poly to Poly. But how mine works, or how in general the whole program works, is that for the first year or for the first half of the year, you study general engineering studies. I would say math, electrical, mechanical. Just the foundations of all these three. So you learn all this in the first half of the year or the first year, and then the second half or the next year onwards, you'll be streaming on towards the more specific courses like electrical engineer, mechanical. So you'll be studying for diploma in electrical engineering or diploma in mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. So it's basically a pre-streaming course, which gives a chance to people who flunked it, me.
Yeah.
But I fortunately did well enough to go into the streaming diploma that I want. I streamed into the one that I wanted.
Which was?
Diploma in electronic systems.
Okay.
It's a NYP thing, I think. And then sadly didn't do very well in year 2, semester 1, I believe. So I think the first year of my poly life, I actually managed to bag a decent GPA. I think around 3.3, 4. An average, but still decent compared to what I have now. Yeah, so I did, I got that GPA, but I think year 2, sem 1 onwards, right? Because I was not able to understand the concept or the module very well. So like before, like previously mentioned on episode 0, my type of studying or learning, I guess, is that I really have to dive down and understand the whole foundation of a module. So on year 2 sem 1, I had this module which unfortunately had a very heavy credit point of I think module credit of 20.
Okay.
And I only got a D in that. And that pulled my whole GPA down from a 3.3 all the way to a 2.1. Yeah, because the other modules I did only fairly well. Like not as great as I wanted it to be. So I got it at I went down all the way to 2.1, and then year 2 sem 2 onwards, sem 2 means semester 2, I started the impossible climb, I would like to call it, all the way to the end of the year. So my brain was like on the mode of, alright, I'll need to either get a B plus or an A throughout the entire year, like whatever's left of my Polytechnic year. So long story short, I managed to graduate with a 3.
Okay.
Because how cumulative GPA works is that if you flunked once, it's really hard to climb up. Compared to if you flunk it early. If you flunk it early, it doesn't really put a toll. I mean, there is still an average toll that pulls you down, but it's not as heavy if you flunk it in the middle, where you had a high score and then a low score afterwards.
Yeah.
It's painful when you're trying to graduate with a decently high GPA. On my final 2 semesters, I basically aced the 2 semesters, so 3.5 and above for each of them. On the last one, it's a 4.0. Okay. And there's some drama in my poly about that. I think my lab mates will know. Like, I was very livid with my project supervisor. So in our final year of Polytechnic, we have this thing what we call the final year project. I think for university students, the equivalent would be a capstone project. But if you're in uni, you should know what I'm talking about anyway. But for others who are not aware of what we do, is basically we have to do like I said, the final year project. I think the word the term speaks for itself, explains itself well. So there is supposed to be a supervisor who should do what a supervisor does effectively, right? Supervise and oversee what the student does. Mine gave me 0 support. I'm calling you out, by the way. Mine gave me 0 support, absolutely 0 support. On the first phase of my final year project, I guess, he said that why not you help me do up data analysis or business intelligence, you know? And I was like thinking like...
So you're asking him for help?
No.
He
He told me to do business intelligence.
Okay.
And the worst part is that I am not trained in business intelligence. I am an electrical engineering student.
And this like overseer, what was the title, I guess?
He was, I think, just a lecturer. Just
so
a senior lecturer.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he had a master's as well, but you'll see why that comes into play later.
Okay.
The thing is that I did not have any knowledge in business intelligence, right? So he told me to, it's okay, just read up. And then he left. On the same day, the second time he came in, he told me like, oh, actually, this is supposed to be a course for the engineering with business students. Like, I want you to help me out to build this course.
Oh.
So I'm effectively doing his job, which is not, I don't mind, you know. But the thing is that every other student have this thing too, where they are building, their final year project is to build a course. Like some students have it.
Okay.
Then what I came up to him was like, okay, for that first 1 month, okay, now it gets a bit more messy because how my final year project it works is that it meshes up with my what we call our overseas internship project. So my overseas internship was in Japan. The fortunate thing about it is that whatever I was doing in Japan, I had a lot of pride in it, and it's actually relevant to what I studied.
Yeah.
And actually kicked my interest up a lot more for whatever I studied.
I see.
So whatever I did in Japan was so like, you know, it's totally overshadowing whatever I did for the first month of what I did in Singapore.
Okay.
So only on the first month in Japan, right, I texted my project coordinator or the course coordinator. So basically the guy who oversees the entire course.
Yeah.
I not texted, sorry, I emailed him and I told him like my project supervisor is not wary of what I'm doing or what I have studied for. And I believe that the project he laid out on me is absolutely irrelevant to what I have studied before. Like it's impossible for me to create anything that is of quality because I have no experience and no knowledge in whatever he's asking me to do, right?
Yeah.
So project coordinator
And
got
it wasn't
back.
even for you.
Yeah, it's not even for me. It's for future engineering with business. I'm an electrical engineer. So the course coordinator emailed me back and said, okay, we'll do something about it. We'll let your project supervisor know. I'm like, okay, thanks, great. So 3 months in Japan passed. That's how long the duration for my internship was. Had a fruitful time. And I love my Japanese friends for it because they made it much better. And everyone else who was with me during the overseas internship was absolutely amazing.
Okay.
So that was a very good experience. Dumped a lot of money there too. Still regret it, but a lot of money spent on that on the internship. But otherwise, once I came back, I noticed that my project supervisor kind of sent a pic to me, like when I was in the airport in Japan. Like he sent a picture and then he was like saying, okay, all the materials are there for you to pull off your project. It's on your table, it's on your desk already now. I'm like, okay. And then great, right? Looks like a good step towards progress, right?
Yeah.
I came back on a Monday, and I sat down. He gave me he just asked me like what I did in Japan, right? So I told him I was doing farming environmental monitoring systems for the farms, automation on maybe picking of fruits and vegetables in the farm in Japan, right? And he was like, oh, okay. So maybe you can pull off the same thing here? And then I'm like, sure, if I have the components, right? That's only fair if I have the components. And he was like, okay, yeah, just ask for it and I'll give it to you. And then I think, sorry, I'm very passionate about this story because
okay, go for it.
I'm very livid with him. But yeah, so afterwards he just left me alone to do my thing. So I decided I broke up my project in phases, right? So overall I wanted to create a monitoring system that can be automated with machines. Okay, so the first phase I decided to do the monitoring system first, right, to build up that system. But then I realized I only had 2 months. So basically that module that he gave me, the components that he gave me were not normal. It's a different type of component. It's a very rigid component, software building wise.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, you're a bit blurred.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah. So basically, it's just a LoRa module, but it's a LoRa module for viewers at least. It's a LoRa module that was I guess proprietary in a sense. So I had to basically hack my way into it, which I didn't have much experience, but I still managed to pull it off anyway after a month. So it felt like I put too much time on that. So I decided to rush the components and rush the building up to phase 2, which is the connections to the robots or how it sends data over. So at that point, I was supposed to have a mid-year presentation. So mid-project presentation, right? And this project supervisor, every other groups or every other individual that was doing the final year project had a project supervisor looking over them and advising them on what needs to be done on the mid-year presentation and what needs to be avoided at least. Basically, they had guidance, alright? And my project supervisor had
it's the same one, right?
Sorry?
It's the same one?
No, as in we were all assigned different project supervisors.
Oh, as in it was the same supervisor.
Yeah, right.
Mentioned
It's the same all the way.
Yeah.
So my project supervisor told me he was busy, so he told me to start on it first. I'm like, okay, sure. So I got it off from my other lab mates who had the format of how the presentation should go about, right? So I just did it like what I had. So I did all accordingly. And lo and behold, we were supposed to have a rehearsal or at least a practice for the presentation. He never appeared, not even once. All right, never for a single day during my mid-year presentation or during the preparation of it was he ever there.
Well, do you think it's because you sent the email complaint or like what do you think?
No, I'm pretty sure it's because of that. But regardless, right? Because my complaint about it was that he was not giving me relevant things to do. Yeah. It was nothing about how his teaching was or how his advice or guidance was. You know, it was just purely about I cannot do this because I am not qualified or I am not trained to do this. I didn't study for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he said he was busy. Fine. So weird. I did the presentation. I rehearsed on my own. Then on the day itself, on the day of the mid-year presentation, right, he was there because he was my project supervisor, right? He was there with the course coordinator, and I did a presentation.
Yeah.
Course coordinator was amazed, to say the least, literally amazed at what my presentation was and how detailed it was. I guess before the previous my previous lab mates or previous presenters wasn't that great.
Okay.
But basically my presentation was just me showing my project and delving into all the problems I had and how I solved them, what I did to counteract all the problems. And the course coordinator was impressed, right? He was genuinely impressed and said, okay, great. Okay, good. Much more detailed than I was expecting. All right. Here's the kicker. My project supervisor was, during the criticism part or during the Q&A part, my project supervisor was dumping me questions that technically he should know about. Because if he supervised me throughout, he should know.
Yeah.
Right? I can see that the course coordinator was looking at him slightly like, why are you asking these questions? It's like, so, okay, he asked me these questions, right? I'm like, fine, I'll answer it. All right? I'll answer it. And the course coordinator asked me a different set of questions where it's more related to my project and how I intend to scale or put it into real world use.
Yeah.
Right? So he was impressed that I was able to answer it with some logic, at least, with certain level of logic. Like not too floaty where, I can expand this into the world, you know, like I can expand this like progressively, right? So at the end of the presentation, right, once we all go back to our labs again, my project supervisor, he came out, he looked at me, and then he sat down beside me and he was like, I wasn't expecting you to do that well on the presentation because I didn't run a rehearsal with you.
Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean by you don't expect me to do that well, right?
Like, are you hoping I didn't do well?
Yeah, it's like, are you like, you should be wishing like you did better than expected given that I did not come to rehearse you, right? And then I did not expect you to do well, but good job otherwise. I'm like, wow, you're taking a piss at me now, aren't you? It's like, okay, sure. He said it so mockingly, you know, like I felt pissed, right? So at that point, I was like, okay, fine. Then I asked him, can I request some components from you? Because I want to initiate phase 2, which is the linking of the data and everything. And they said, yeah, okay, I'll get the components for you. And right, mind you, this was still pre-COVID. Shipping delays wasn't evident then yet. Like they were still doing 1-day shipping from China nonetheless. Alright, so I told him like, what's my budget that I should work around? And he told me around $300. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll play around with the budget of $300. I requested some components from him. Never came until the end. It still didn't come, even at the end. So I basically I was never able to put phase 2 properly. So I had to simulate my data linking. So everything was web-based and I uploaded data into here, data output into there, this acted on it. So everything was so janky, right? It was so simulated. And then my course coordinator told my project supervisor that he wanted to nominate me for Dean's List or Director's List. Right. And that means that basically I've earned an A or distinction already in the results.
Yeah.
And everyone knew. So my project supervisor came in to my room and then he asked me to come to his office. I'm like, okay, sure. And then he sat me down and then he had a cheek to ask me, so what have you done for the past 2.5 months? I need to know it. I need to know it so that I can write the letter of recommendation for you. And I looked at him, it's like, how the hell would I have known what I've done? Like, so far what I've done is whatever I've given to you on the weekly report. And if you ask me about the achievements I've broken, it doesn't feel like I've broken anything at all. Because day by day, I've just been chiseling at it, right? So it doesn't seem anything noteworthy. And then he said, so in that case, I can't recommend you. Then I'm like, it's your duty to write a statement for me. I'm not supposed to be the one writing the statement for you, right? You are supposed to talk on behalf of me in this sense, really. Like, if it wasn't like you writing it, the course coordinator could just come to me and just say, can you just write me an appeal on why we should, put you up for director's list,
Do you get it in the end though?
No, eventually they shut down the whole director's list. Not the director's list, sorry. They shut down the distinction. And they said to me, like, everyone who went on overseas internship will not get a distinction this year.
Why?
I think I'm not sure why, but I'm not sure if it's him at this point. I don't want to shoot false accusations at this point, but basically, I think that there wasn't enough backing or merit on whether they should give a distinction or not. Right? It felt very off.
I see.
So, but my result from Japan was far past distinction. Like, it was A on everything. When I saw the results, it was A on everything. And I got the director's list eventually. I got a director's list. Albeit my project, I think my project supervisor did not endorse for me at all. Like the one who endorsed for me was another project supervisor from my other lab mate, and it was another lecturer. Like he endorsed for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you see how like shit this is? And I realized, right, he was working for his doctors, his PhD. That's why he didn't have time.
Oh.
So personal interest over mine first, over the students first.
Yeah.
Which honestly I do not mind.
That is, at least have done.
Yeah, at least some minimal attention
Yeah.
to your student. Minimally, He totally focused on his doctorate program. And if he is watching this, right, on the off chance he is watching this, right, I would know because I searched up your name in the registry, and then you went from a mister to a doctor. Alright? This is not something you can't hide.
So you've been scarred that you had to.
No, I'm livid with him, not because of that, Like, I do not mind that he went for his doctorate program. I'm more pissed that he took a more mocking approach at what I've done so far. And it takes another project supervisor to even recommend me up. And the other project supervisor even linked me to my friend. Together we formed a group. We were supposed to compete in the what they call the Tankaki's Young Innovators program or competition. But unfortunately, it was shut down because of COVID. So we never got around to competing around it. But our name was registered. I'm still getting emails about the Tankaki's inventors constantly because we were registered in already. But see, it takes... I'm just leave it at him. That's how my poly life ended. Yeah. With a lot of salt. Yeah. With so much salt.
Sometimes like you're just not fortunate with the teachers, lecturers you get, right? Like they're great ones, but...
Yeah, but unfortunately this one is terrible. Yeah. And I like how my lab mates all knows about this because I ranted to them every single day. Every morning I come in, right? Okay, to be fair, he has something to be pissed off with me too, my attendance. I don't come on time, but I get results done, output every single day, So fair enough that he's salty about me with the attendance, but I didn't think he had to pull it off to the extent where he can deny me of all the opportunity to get director's list or distinction or even the opportunity to guide me throughout the presentation. I feel like it's not fair to a certain extent. Yeah, because I still managed to output project, output results at the end of the day, right? So I rented all to my friends, and on the day of graduation, or on our day of unofficial graduation, I would say, last day of school. Yeah. Right? My lab mates were like, it's okay, let's take a picture and then let's just celebrate it, it's fine, don't care about it. We all know about the salt. Everyone who was in there with the lab with me, right? Every time my project supervisor passed by, right?
It's like, it's time.
Yeah. And my lab mates were like, Vincent, he's there. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
He may as well not be.
Yeah, he may as well not be. And then he came in on my last day and said, Vincent, good job. I'm like, yeah, right. And we had to write a final report, right? My final report was subtly scarring, to say the least. Okay. I would I thank my project supervisor, Mr. Let's call him Bob.
Mr. Bob.
Yeah, I thank my project supervisor, Mr. Bob, for giving me the absolute freedom to do whatever I wanted in the project.
Freedom, I see.
Yes. With a great with a great oversight, allowed me to pursue what I really wanted. And
great trust in your abilities.
Right. Yeah. I wrote that. I wrote that. It's like I'm very
complete trust.
Yeah, it's like I'm very, very grateful that he gave me full directions or full guidance or full oversight of what I wanted to do and trusted me to output my best.
The autonomy.
Yeah. And I wrote there, despite my components not arriving on time or my products not arriving on time,
it tested you.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for Mr. Bob to give me alternatives to trying to work out whatever I needed to do and simulate it. Once again, I thank Mr. Bob for his I guess willingness or the freedom for me to put out this project without too much restrictions from him. Yeah. It's like, thank you again. And then I proceeded to do my project report. So I basically salted on him so badly because he just didn't deserve it, He just didn't deserve any recognition. And my other project supervisor was reading through my report, right? And he was like, you sure you want to write this? I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
I'm definitely certain. And I'll export it in PDF so that you can't even edit it even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. They told me to Word, but export it in Word. So I didn't. I exported in PDF and submitted. And screw it. I know you can convert PDF to Word, but I did my best on restricting whatever I can do.
Yeah.
That basically sums up the life of my poly in Polytechnic. Sorry. It was a very good 3 years, albeit drama at the end. But Drama at the end with minimal salt, I guess. I like my friends there though. My friends are chill. My friends are really chill. So sorry, I think it was quite long that I discussed my poly life a bit too long and a bit too passionate.
I don't even know how to like.
Yeah. Sorry, it was too passionate.
I don't know how to carry on with that. Maybe I should have started first.
Yeah, I think you should have started
it
first.
Felt like it would be lacking now.
No. I think mine is one of, I won't say the unique cases in poly life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it occurs very often that we have bad teachers as well. Mm-hmm. But I think we should go on to your story first.
Okay.
On your A levels or IB.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because
long story.
Yeah,
I don't think it would be that long, but
no, just fire away.
Alright. So let's just start from I guess where we left off. Where did we leave? Okay, secondary school.
Right.
So for me, during N levels, I did, which was like the 4th year of my secondary school, where Vincent actually continued on to his 5th year, but I did well enough to enter this program called the Poly Foundation program. And basically you enter poly instead of doing a 5th year in your secondary school, but you enter into a foundation year. So we will if I actually continued in my education in Ngee Ann Poly, we would have graduated at the same time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so when I went into the Poly Foundation program, I felt like everything inside was really boring and simple, I guess, because what we had to learn was, I think there was math.
Right.
Very, very slight engineering. I wouldn't even consider it engineering because I don't know what it's about, but it's like wiring, circuits.
Sounds like electrical engineering to me.
Yeah, just the very basic stuff.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really, it's just a foundation program.
Right.
So there was math, there was that. And the wiring stuff is to me, it was at such a basic level where, oh, okay, so
it's boring.
Yeah, this is pink color and this is pink color on it. Connect the two pinks together kind of thing.
I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then for math, because I took express level math and A math on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they taught was everything I've learned.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it was literally I felt like it was the most
time-wasting thing ever.
Yeah, time-wasting thing ever.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't go to school.
Yeah, right, fair.
And yeah, as you can see, it's a trend from secondary school to poly. I don't go to school. And because of that, the teachers tried to kick me out after the first semester. They tried to kick me out of school. So when they did that, obviously my parents were brought in for a chat, right? It was your son's grade is good, because I was still doing I was basically getting full marks for stuff.
I know, yeah, you were acing it.
Yeah, and then he was like, your son's grade is good, but he has to improve his attendance.
Right.
Deja vu. Secondary school, the principal said the same thing.
Yep.
So when they said that, I was like, okay, sure. But then after a while, I realized nah, fuck that shit. This is too boring for me. So I decided to just drop out instead. I told my dad, Dad, okay, no, this is too boring. I'm gonna drop out. I'm gonna study something else. And then because I only had N level, so I couldn't go straight into JC.
Right.
So I looked around and I found out there was this thing called IB, International Baccalaureate. Yeah. And then there was a really good school, I guess, for international schools near my place. So I went in for an interview. I joined in year 4, which is sort of Sec 5, if you were to. Basically a foundation year for
IB program.
IB, yeah. I went in. I was doing my usual stuff, doing decent in school. Also a bit boring.
You can see a trend here again. Just a new trend.
Yeah, so I don't go to school. Same thing. They tried to kick me out. They talked to my parents. The son's grades are decent. He's doing pretty well in school.
Attendance is shit.
But his attendance is shit. He needs to improve his attendance.
Can you imagine your dad is where have I heard this before?
Yeah, deja vu again.
Why is it so similar?
Yeah. So from then on, I go to school a bit more, but after a while, I start to I don't know I just got lazy again, because I just stopped going to school again. And then I guess I started to look into stocks and forex. So I was investing.
Right.
I was making decent money. The school wanted me out quite badly. I was like, okay, nah, I'm making good money. I'm making more than what the average working adult in Singapore would make.
Right.
So I decided, nah, fuck school. It's not for me. So I quit school and I started to do that full time. And then after that, about one year plus, NS called me up. So slightly before that, right, I wanted to like start a business venture on my own. And like looking into it, I'm not gonna say what it is, but looking into it, I realized like, oh holy shit, there's actually so many things that I don't understand, like going into the real world. Like I don't understand, what you're supposed to do with this or that. It's hard to go in depth, but that's like the gist of it. And then that was like roughly when NS called me up. So I went to NS, did my BRT. This was like at the start of COVID. So I basically got to stay home for like most of the time. And then when I got posted out, I realized actually I have so much time on my hand. So why not go back to study? Because like now I know like I'm not studying for the grades. Like I'm studying for the knowledge. So like actually I'm motivated in that sense. Like I know what I want and like I'm going to achieve it. So I decided to take private A-levels. And yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Not very long.
But interesting enough, I would say.
Interesting.
Not a very like convenient path. Not a very generic path.
Yeah, very, very, very different. Oh, I guess like there was a culture shock when I went into the international school.
Oh.
Yeah,
go on. Yeah.
In international school, like I would say most of the students there are from wealthier family.
I think wealthier is an understatement, isn't it? You mean extremely
They're more
wealthy.
well-to-do. So like back in secondary school in poly, you like walk around, like you see normal standard shoes like Converse, whatever, right? When I went into school, in the international school.
Not to say that Converse is not great.
No, I'm just saying like that's the most common.
Yeah.
Which is like what I would wear. Even or like the high end would be Onizuka Tiger, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, when I went into the international school, I looked around. It's like everyone was wearing branded shoes. And it was at the point where Yeezy was popping, right? Like the Yeezy Belugas and stuff were reselling for about $1,000.
Right, they just bought it.
Like they were wearing it as their
as a utilitarian shoes,
yes.
right? Fuck.
And I look around, I see LV, like just all these brands and bags. Okay, like standard bags for us. Cool bags were like Herschel and the Kruk something, Kraken.
Fjallraven Kanken.
Yeah, Kraken. Yes.
Yeah, Kanken or
so
Kraken,
like Herschel and Kraken were like the normal bags.
Right.
Like actually slightly better already.
Yeah, they're actually
I
way
look
better
around
already.
and I see like Gucci bags, LV backpacks for their books.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, okay.
It kind of screams on how far the income gap is to a lot of people, though.
Yeah, it's like it's a normal occurrence. And also, since it was an international school, there was like lodging. What would you call it? Lodging.
Boarding school.
Right? Where they would stay.
The international students, right?
Yeah.
I think boarding school. No, I think. I mean, it's.
Lodging.
Basically, it's lodging for international students, right?
And then like
not boarding school.
To exit, most of the time you have to cut through the school. And like they were wearing just like straight branded stuff, like Marcelo Ballon, Off-White, like all the Chinese students. So yeah, it was a shock. Because it used to be only it's not normal for me to have everyone around me wear such branded items.
It's not even normal as an appearance regularly in Singapore to wear branded items everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? But I think the weird part is that because I guess ASEAN in general or even China and Japan, it feels like our whole concept of money is thrown out the window compared to the Western end. Yeah. Like you have people who are probably staying in BTO. BTO is built to order, by the way. It's a public housing by the government of Singapore. You have people who are staying there who wears Rolexes, owns maybe an M5 BMW. By the way, for those people, for viewers international, thinking it's only an M5. It's like 40,000.
Slightly before that, right? I'll just say, I was wearing like the same things, but it's just like not. I used to be the odd one out.
Yeah.
Like, then now it's like,
but now you fit in the gang. Now you fit in the gang.
But yeah, you were saying the concept of money.
I have found my people.
No, they're like, okay. It's like we used to be called rich in secondary school.
Yeah, but they're a different scale altogether, right?
Now I'm poor, in comparison.
Yeah. And I'm not that rich. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Sure.
But anyway, like what I was saying on the I guess I won't say. Can I say it safely? It's an income gap. What do you think is an income gap?
100%.
Oh yeah, or how we see money as, or how we value money, I guess.
What's the comparison?
Compared to ASEAN and the ASEAN, North Asia and China, I would say.
I would say how you value like
how
brands.
how we spend on brands and
Yeah.
how we find what is necessary and what's a luxury.
necessity.
Yeah, I think it's more expanded here in Singapore, where, like I said before, there are people who are staying in built to orders, basically public housing,
Mhm.
and then they own Rolexes and M5s, BMW M5s.
So
right?
value of homes and value of car.
Yeah,
like
like-
that is a very big
Right. And
difference.
for those who are thinking, right, obviously your house will be more expensive than your car, right? Which is a fair point. It
Mhm.
still stands in Singapore as well. But the problem here is that an M5 here doesn't cost 30 or 40 grand US or pounds. It costs you a good 310,000 Sing dollars.
And it's like a Toyota to a BM.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like maybe 10,000-20,000.
Yeah, it's not a 10
It's not
20,000
like
cap.
a Toyota is 2,000-3,000, right?
Yeah, a Toyota here will cost you at least a Prius, right?
Yeah.
Will cost you 140,000. This is before taxes and before any of COE, what we have called the
Certificate of entitlement.
Yeah, basically a piece of paper that cost around 50,000 on its own minimally.
Mhm.
It's now almost 95,000 or 90,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a piece of paper that tells you that you are able to own a car for 10 years, not your life,
Yeah.
right? For 10 years. So that's how the scale like really fucks up in Singapore, at least. It's so weird to see people who are staying in public housing. Not that they shouldn't own, but I feel like how the concept of money here works is so different from the Western
Mhm.
side that
Yeah.
not a lot of people really knows the full
I
value
think
of money
this
on
can
its
be
own.
like a full podcast episode on its own,
Right,
actually.
true. Just this is just a
yeah,
small,
just a
small like
sneak peek.
yeah, just a small drip maybe
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
future.
Like Salt Bay a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's
Maybe
true.
this one I think we can discuss it with guests as well, because
Yeah.
technically we are both from different income groups, I would say.
That's not true.
Okay, not so
Hell-
different. Not so
No,
different.
No, we are not different at all.
No, we are to a certain extent.
No, we are not.
We are.
I have no car.
That doesn't really make a difference.
Yes, it
Your
does.
wherever we are right now is higher value than where I am.
Yeah, but you have multiple homes.
No, I don't. Let's put it clearly. I do not.
All right. Okay, okay.
It's
Let's
a different
talk
story.
about this.
Yeah, it's a different story altogether again.
Yeah. Okay. So since we're on like poly and like whatever mind you would consider it, so the tertiary education path, right?
It's like poly and whatever I studied.
How were like your friends like? You know, I've never met any of them, right?
I
And
would
you've never met
say-
any of mine.
I mean, you've described yours pretty well sometimes, and I just have a rough image of it because I base it off on my friends that have similar personalities. But otherwise, for my poly, I would say that my friends are very run-of-the-mill Singaporeans, I would say.
Okay.
Very generic. Some of them, though, have the capability to study very well, but they don't study.
Mm.
But they are still able to pull something out of their ass anytime whatsoever.
I feel attacked.
No, I mean, like, what I mean is like it's more impactful in poly, where it's a cumulative GPA, right? So what you did was still okay. Like I can still catch up to you anytime I wanted because it's not cumulative.
yeah.
What they did was something where they flunked out, and then they came back in with a 4.0 straight for the rest of the year, you know. And that's where it's hard, because cumulative GPAs basically means that if you flunk once at least, it's really hard for you to climb again, right?
I see.
So that's what I really mean. But they have the potential to study actually. They are really good. Personality wise, I would say, like I said before, generic Singaporeans. They are very fashionable to the least.
Fashionable.
No, as in okay,
They are fashionable.
okay. For me, right?
Slippers are not fashionable.
No, they're not wearing slippers. They're wearing shoes, proper shoes and jeans and everything.
Like, okay, don't take offense. Slippers are not fashionable.
They're
but
not.
that's what I wear 99% of the time.
Yeah, I mean they are not fashionable. I don't disagree on that. You know,
Mhm.
slippers are like just convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But what I mean by fashionable, and okay, my standard of fashionable, by the way, is whenever you're wearing jeans and you're wearing covered shoes.
Like, okay.
But at least it has to be matching,
Uh-huh.
right? It doesn't. It's not like I'm saying like wear green color jeans and black color shoes. That's
Yeah.
not what I mean.
Like,
by
I think
fashionable.
I'm like the least, I could be the least fashionable person that you know, in the sense that I don't buy my own clothes. My dad buys them for me.
I mean,
I mean, he has great taste.
I don't buy my I buy my own clothes now, but it's all plain. Like
Yeah.
if you can see, even my hoodie is like just
Like-
straight, and if you see underneath, it's just nothing.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
I always wear the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
okay, my dad bought this. My dad bought this as well. So he has great taste, which is good. So I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to do my own shopping because I have decision fatigue. I cannot shop I cannot find something I like.
Oh, I think I'm very different. Like I go online and then I just check on what I want, right? Say for example, maybe I go uniqlo.com. Sponsor us. But yeah, I just go website and then I just go on the website, just see whatever I want. Just select, maybe I want this hoodie. This color looks fair. I just pick neutral colors. This is not neutral.
I
obviously.
just let my dad do the shopping.
Oh,
like I'm lacking shorts, so I'm like, Dad, I need some shorts.
And he's like, okay.
And like if he sees something nice, he'll get it for me.
Oh, mine won't. I mean, my mom will, but to some extent, right? Most of it is done by me. So I just, every single time I go to a mall, I just go in the shop, just go to any shop, right? I'm like, okay, this is what I want to get now. I'm gonna get this, and I'm getting the fuck out. Right? That's it. I'm not even wasting any time. Like, that's why I don't understand people who go inside and just look around and say, wow, this shirt is nice, that shit nice. I just go in, it's like, this shirt is nice, but I'm not buying it today anyway. Just going straight anyway. It's like I have a very linear path to shopping.
So fashion can be another podcast topic. Note that down.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be hard for me to even input anything on it.
It's okay. We'll have a guest.
Yeah, but I guess in a manner we can, because we do splurge on clothing sometimes. And
very, very rarely. And
no, I guess we are fortunate enough that we can even consider to look at these clothes.
Yeah.
And to even think of buying it.
Yeah.
We are in a very, very fortunate position where we can do that.
But
yeah, I think we've already discussed 2 topics that we can do for future users really, which is nice.
And then so let's not go too far off tangent, I guess. So
yeah, sorry, we are if you can see what it's doing, we are sticking to a certain schedule here.
Yeah. So we finished tertiary education.
Right. We're running down the list now.
No, I'm like just thinking in my head, like the path of education. I don't remember if I think we didn't talk about this in the episode of the messed up audio, but uni.
I think we did. Just
we'll just like
really quick touch on it.
For people who cannot stand the audio there.
Yeah. You go first.
Like I said, I actually started to study again, but this time it's not for like just grades or the paper. It's like out of interest. Like I want more knowledge on this topic. So like I'm taking my private A-levels. I'll be applying to uni in the UK.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I guess I can say.
Yeah.
LSE, UCL, Warwick. The so-called more prestigious universities.
For economics.
Yeah, for economics. And yeah, that's actually
it.
I guess. Okay, so I've already sent in my application. I'll probably know if I'm accepted in April, May. So do keep up with the podcast, and you will know like if I get in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's the same for me as well. The only difference between me and Zhan, I guess, is that probably aiming for a local uni first. Because not that I do not want to go overseas, but the funny thing is Zhan invited me to study in UK with
just go UK with me, man.
It's like, but I not to this. If there's anyone in the UK watching, right? Okay, fine. I hate the UK. I mean, I don't really hate it as a country on its own, but I don't like how, I guess, the environment is like, how the cost of living, I would say. I mean, it's relatively equal to Singapore.
But the thing is just like, I've not actually been outside of like Asia, if you don't include Australia. Right. So like I just want to live my life. Like just in a different environment, live alone, see how I do.
Right. See, that's fair.
Just expose myself.
Yeah, it's fair because I've been fortunate enough to be almost everywhere.
Yeah.
In the world, more or less.
You better put that in.
But I wouldn't say that I've stayed in a country long enough to maybe say fully delve into the culture. But sometimes the experiences that I have in, first impression counts, right? Yeah. Like the first impression of UK for me was not that great, I would say.
I'm just tired of Singapore.
I mean, cost of living in the UK is relatively expensive. I mean, almost equal to Singapore, but if you include like
it's like
expenses like food and everything else,
and if you eat out,
necessities
that's
as well.
Thing you cannot do. Yeah, like you cannot do it as frequent.
Yeah, food and necessities are so much more expensive compared to Singapore.
Like if you eat out as much as you do in the UK,
you're gonna go broke within the first 3 months, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna survive that at all. Like you really have to start cooking. But I guess it's the same that applies to almost every other country you go to. So you should, I mean, obviously you're not in your hometown, so you won't really get your maximum expenses, right? Yeah. So most of the students work overseas part-time and just fund their own food
or like
and everything.
Internship.
Yeah. But anyway, on the UK point, Zhan did try to convince me, at least attempted, miserably failed to
It's
make me
okay.
study
I
in
have
the
other
UK.
friends there. I'll see you guys there. Let's get ready for some clubbing adventures. I mean, hardcore mugging adventures. I don't know if you heard me, if the mic picked up something else.
Definitely, I can see that.
Yeah, hardcore mugging. Okay.
But anyway, my options for studying would be, if I were to go overseas, it would be Germany. Trying for Switzerland, but it's kind of hard to go into Switzerland.
Yeah. But yeah, just kidding. Actually, you'll be studying.
Yeah. I mean, you have to mug.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure you enjoy it too, but you
Yeah.
have to mug a lot of studies there. But taking so Germany and Switzerland,
yes.
but these two might have to put a pause on my thoughts because they require a language test to go through.
It's like deja vu, man. I feel like I've heard this like 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, we recorded this
But
3
this
times.
is the official first episode, so
Yeah.
you will not hear it again if you heard it all 3 times.
And I hope I don't fuck up. But yeah, anyway, language tests to do. It should be relatively easier for me because I'm multilingual to the extent where I know German as well. Because my parents speak German, and for those who don't know,
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Yeah, I know German as well.
No, it's more like Guten Tag now, but yeah, it's okay.
Nien.
Nine.
Nine.
But yeah, so I have to take language tests. So that might be a hindrance in my application. Most likely, I'll study in Singapore first, get the BA here, and proceed to do MA in another university overseas. At the same time, do internships to gather as much experience as I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in the field that I want to,
Like-
which is automation.
I think because we are entering uni at an older age, we understand how important the internships are.
Yeah, it's not only how important. I guess for us, for poly students, right, we really got a taste, especially those who got to do actual meaningful work.
Yeah.
Like it really like piles on experience onto you. It's said that some internships use poly students, calling again companies out, but it's said that some companies,
As runners.
as runners, just doing ad hoc paperwork.
Buy
Like-
me some coffee.
Yeah, like, I mean, we are underpaid. Interns are underpaid in Singapore to a certain extent,
Yeah.
but we are here to get an experience, guys. Come on, don't just use us as extra labor. Wink, wink, SAF. But no, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we are forced to.
We'll touch on that in like 9 months when we've ORD.
Yeah, but no, I think
Watch out.
but a lot of they know our sentiments towards it. I mean, I hope they know. If you're so oblivious to it,
I love it, man.
yeah,
It's like what an honor. I get to serve my country. Gotta put in like 2 years of my very short life to do such meaningful work. It's just amazing.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. It is
Like
really-
imagine the US, you actually have to sign up.
Yeah.
That's so wasted. Just
And-
sign me up. Like the
right.
answer is always yes.
Yeah. It's like we get a free 2-year trial, man.
Yeah. Just sign me up. You
And
know,
get a
don't
whole-
even ask.
Yeah, we get a whole plethora
Yeah.
of experience as well.
Like the government knows me so well. It's just amazing. I love
It's just
it.
amazing. And
Like, can I reiterate how much I love it?
Right. NS is a. Yeah, I think we stand on different paths here. Indeed, yes, for sure.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you.
What were we talking about before university? I mean, I already covered on what I guess I was studying, which
Yeah.
is what I want to study, which is automation, and where I intend to study and the plans forward. So what are we left with actually for today at least?
Let me see.
Yeah, we're trying to stick to topic.
Do
as
we
much
really
as
want to go
possible.
into what's expected after uni?
I think we can. Can we? That's like future.
Okay, yeah, you
path
know what?
planning.
Like when we get in, that will be a topic.
Yeah, I guess when we get in, that'll be more relevant then.
Yeah, so I guess we will end the podcast here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good like roundup. We talked about poly, basically our tertiary life.
Yeah.
Uni you want to go into
Right.
NS.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Sounds
Alright,
good.
so thank you for listening,
Right.
watching, viewing our YouTube video, Apple Podcast, wherever you're on.
Spotify. Yeah.
Yes, Spotify.
I mean, sorry, a disclaimer. I'm still
we forgot the
experimenting.
disclaimer.
No, I don't think we did too badly today.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just edit on
There
the
will
front.
be disclaimers in the future
Yeah.
for more sensitive topics.
Maybe we'll just record it as a separate clip and then we just
Yeah.
insert it every
If
single
you
time.
guys are offended at what we say, I'm so sorry that you feel that way.
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, so just a second disclaimer, which is this will definitely be uploaded on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. I'm still trying out, or at least because we didn't have a proper episode yesterday, so I'll see what I can do for Spotify. What I've gotten is that we can use a platform called Anchor, not sponsored. Willing to get sponsored,
yes.
But I'm gonna be using a platform on Anchor, which I think is run by Spotify as well, and then it will let us upload onto Spotify. But I mean, if you see us there, then you know we succeeded, right?
Yeah.
Else, you'll be listening to this on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. If you have YouTube Premium, you can gladly swipe up the video and just listen to the audio.
And once again, Patreon is not up, but PayNow is always open. PayNow, PayLah, GrabPay, anything you can think of, pay anyone.
Yes. This exclusively open to our friends who knows us.
Yeah. And if you don't know us, you can request my bank details.
Yeah. Our socials will be put in the description for YouTube. For obvious reasons, not for the payment, but if you want to, you don't mind. But right. So for the audio listeners, maybe the socials, maybe where they can find you for the socials.
Okay. So ZachHanHui.99 on Instagram.
Right. And
.99 in numbers.
Yeah. And I guess for mine will be Vincent, VINCNTLWZ. So Lima Whiskey Zulu _ at Instagram. Or if you want to contact us through our official Sashimi Tangent socials, it's Sashimi Tangent on both Twitter and Instagram.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
On YouTube as well.
TikTok as well?
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
On TikTok it might be the Sashimi Tangent actually.
Right.
But I will change that. Do not worry.
I love how our name is unique enough so that we can get that official handle without any benefits to it.
So that's it. Thank you
for listening. Subscribe, follow us, like it, don't like it. Thank you.
Bye bye. That's gonna be my outro. Bye bye.